Hi everybody, it's Peter Boland. So glad you're here with us for another episode in our series on the Upanishads, ancient India's most profoundly insightful and transformative spiritual/philosophical texts. I'm going to be reading to you today from the Mandukya Upanishad, a very brief, just two. Here's the first page. Here's the second. And so 2.5 pages. I'm going to read the whole thing. We're going to get into it line by line and unpack it and see where the intersection is between these nearly, 3,000-year-old texts, these philosophical texts, and our everyday lives here in the modern crazy world. I think you're going to find, as we always do, that those 3,000 years collapse into an eternal moment of recognition and transformation. Let's begin. The Mandukya Upanishad. Aum, spelled A-U-M in this English translation. Aum stands for the supreme reality. It is a symbol for what was, what is, and what shall be. Aum represents also what lies beyond past, present, and future. Brahman is all, and the self is Brahman. Same footnote I give in every one of these every one of these Upanishad videos. And that is, whenever I read the word self, capital S, self, here in Eknatheswaran's wonderful translation, I'm going to switch it back to the Sanskrit Atman. Atman is the one universal consciousness that wells up in all sentient beings and connects all conscious sentient beings into one divine mind called Atman. Atman is the presence of Brahman within us. So as we've seen, if you've watched any of the earlier videos I've done on the Upanishads, you've seen with us that Brahman, Atman are two words for one thing, the one imperishable, birthless, deathless reality, the core of the Sanatana Dharma, the timeless wisdom known in the West as Hinduism, and more specifically the darshana we're really honing in on, Vedanta. Darshana means school of thought, the Vedanta school. And Vedanta means the end or culmination of the Vedas, and that is the Upanishads. The Upanishads come at the end of the Vedic period. They are the end or the culmination of the Vedas in Hindu understanding, in the Hindu framework. The Upanishads represent the fullest flowering of Vedic wisdom and knowledge. And as we read these and discuss these, we're invited into an ancient discussion, an ancient conversation. Again, the word Upanishad means sittings near a teacher. And so now we're right down with them, with these sages and these aspirants as they work through this. This very short Upanishad, it doesn't contain long narratives, long stories, complex metaphors and analogies. It's a little bit like a technical manual describing 4 layers of consciousness. And that line I just read, verse 2, Brahman is all and the Atman is Brahman, is really one of the core mantras of Hinduism. In Sanskrit, I am Atma Brahma. I am Atma Brahma. Those 3 words. Brahma is all and Atman is Brahman. Going on now to verse 3. This self has 4 states of consciousness. So the Atman has 4 states of consciousness. 1. The first is called Vishvanara, in which one lives with all the senses turned outward, aware only of the external world. So that's the first state of consciousness that we all experience. Looking outward, aware of the data streams coming in through the 5 senses, these 2 cameras, stereophonic microphones, the olfactory, the taste, and touch. Those 5 data streams paint for us a very vivid three-dimensional stereo portrait of the energy streaming around us. And we ascribe color to certain vibrations of electromagnetic radiation. And that's why most people believe that they exist as a separate entity. And then there is this thing called the external world, including everybody else, by the way, that they experience. And in the lowest form of consciousness, in Vishvanara consciousness, one stops there and says, well, it's just me. And then there's this whole external world, and that's all reality is. So that's level 1 of consciousness. 3 to go. Taasa is the name of the second, the dreaming state in which, with the senses turned inward, one enacts the impressions of past deeds and present desires. So this is that second realm of consciousness. I would just simply think of it this way, as the inner memories and imaginations about previous sensory experiences of the external world. So you're sitting there and you're thinking about that time you have the beautiful opportunity to walk on Waikiki Beach, or the Champs-Élysées in Paris, or through Yosemite Valley, or wherever else. And you're having all those memories and imaginings. It's beautiful, right? And being human means having a very rich inner life of impressions and imaginations. That's level 2, Taasa. The third state is called Parajna. In this translation called a deep sleep, in which one neither dreams nor desires. There is no mind in Parajna. There is no separateness. But the sleeper, so to speak, is not conscious of this. Let him become conscious in Parajna, and it will open the door to the state of abiding joy. Now we're getting somewhere. So stage 1 is Vishvanara, the external world. Stage 2 is Taasa, senses of the inner memories and impressions gathered previously from our experience with the outer world. And now 3, Parajna. I think of Parajna simply as beneath surface consciousness. So those of us who practice meditation, whether in some of the Hindu traditions or the Buddhist traditions or beyond, we often frame it this way, that in the silence of meditation, we allow our point of attention to drift beneath the waves of the thought stream into the stillness, what Krishna in the Gita calls the inner witness, from which we can observe our thoughts going by with detachment. And that is the experience in this text of Parajna. Parajna is also the term that the Buddhist philosopher Nagarjuna uses when he talks about his 2 modes of consciousness: ordinary consciousness, which is discursive conceptual knowledge, and transcendent consciousness, or Parajna, which is concept-free, experiential awareness of, well, stand by. We'll see what it's an awareness of. So the text goes on, Parajna, all-powerful and all-knowing, dwells in the hearts of all as the ruler. Parajna is the source and end of all. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3. Parajna sounds pretty big. There's still a 4th. What's that? The 4th is the superconscious state called Turiya. Neither inward nor outward, beyond the senses and intellect, in which there is none other than the Lord. He is the supreme goal of life. He is infinite peace and love. Realize him. Notice, as we always do as we study these Upanishads together, the playful way in which the voice in the text bounces back and forth between referring to Brahmanatman as utterly beyond all qualities, neti, 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 not this, not that. Beyond thoughts, beyond even the categories of being and non-being. And then they call it Lord, or in other Upanishads, Lord of Love. That's okay. We're just playing with words here. Why not? We all agree now, we all understand as students of Vedanta that the ultimate is beyond thought and beyond name and beyond form. Nama Rupa, beyond name and form. But we're going to talk about it. And when we talk about it, we playfully say things like Lord or Lord of Love. It's no big deal. Realize him, or as the English forces the translator Eknath to do, to pick a gender. I think calling it they would be better than him. But now, just a couple more stanzas here, because an important conflation is going to happen, an intersection is going to be built. We've discussed the four modes of consciousness. Vishvanara turned outward, Taasa turned inward, Parajna beyond thoughts, deep awareness, content-free, and now Turiya, which, by the way, only means in Sanskrit the fourth stage. They don't even give it a name. What the heck is Turiya? It is this boundless awareness that the other three have kind of been leading us toward. I mean, it was difficult to talk about Parajna. What the heck are we supposed to say about Turiya? Just the mysterious fourth stage, which Iswaran struggles, he sort of makes up a word, superconscious state. But watch what happens now as the ancient teacher in this Upanishad brings the two things we've been talking about here for a few minutes together, namely Aum, A-U-M in English, Aum, and the four stages of consciousness. Watch this. Turiya, that fourth stage, is represented by Aum. So when we, in our ritual observance, chant the holy Aum, we are giving sonic form to Turiya. Turiya, the place where the previous three states have been leading, and where the previous three states join together, and where the previous three states are transcended. Perfect, because I don't know if you can hear it, but the trash truck is going by on my suburban San Diego street. So as the trash truck symbolically carries away the garbage we don't need, we have discarded, we have taken use of, and now set aside. Renunciation, let go of. So too now, as we grapple with this last section of the Mandukya Upanishad, our renouncing and letting go of our struggle to intellectually hammer this all into neat concepts. We're beyond concepts now. We've let go, and they're being taken away. Again, verse 8, Turiya is represented by Aum. Though indivisible, it has three sounds. A, U, M. A stands for Vishvanara, that first state of consciousness. Those who know this through mastery of the senses obtain the fruit of their desires and attain greatness. Ah represents that lowest form of consciousness. But that's not said in a derogatory way. It's just the entry point. It's where we first become aware of anything. We are aware of an outer world. Ah, the middle sound of Aum, Ah, stands for Vishvanara, that second stage. Those who know this through mastery of their senses obtain the fruit of their desires and attain greatness. Did I just mess that up? Yeah, I'm still talking about A. I just read that part twice. Let me go to the middle sound, U, Aum, so the U. U indicates Taasa, that's the second stage. Those who know this, by mastering even their dreams, become established in wisdom. In their family, everyone leads the spiritual life. There's that curious idea that we ran across when we discussed the Mandukya Upanishad, that when one cultivates one's own realization, even the people around us benefit, right? Even the family benefits. So again, the first sound is Vishvanara, the outer consciousness. Indicates Taijasa, that second level, senses turn inward, memories, reflections, and so on. And the last sound of the M sound, M corresponds to Parajna. Those who know this, by stilling the mind, find their true stature and inspire everyone around to grow. The mantra Aum stands for the supreme state of Turiya, the fourth. So is the first stage, U is the second stage, is the third stage, but Aum together, pronounced together, represents the highest or fourth level of consciousness, Turiya. This will be easier to understand if you write all these notes out from the closed captions. Hope you have those turned on so you get all the spellings of these words. Better yet, if you have your own copy of the book and you're reading along, and I bet you do by now, I'll put this in the description of the video, the link where you can get this. The last time I looked on Amazon, it was only $9. So the final stanza. The mantra Aum stands for the supreme state of Turiya, without parts, beyond birth and death, symbol of everlasting joy. Those who know Aum as the Atman become the Atman. Truly they become the Atman. So this beautiful, short, rather technical Upanishad creates a schema, a typology, a kind of a list of different states of consciousness. I'm struck, and as I teach these ideas to college students at Southwestern College, we often discover, because many of my college students are psychology students, right? That's one of the top 2 majors in all American colleges. People go to college in America to study business or psychology, and then everything else after that. So psychology majors often notice and comment that, as we read these ancient Hindu scriptures, we encounter a very sophisticated attempt to map consciousness, to map the mind, to talk about human knowing, human perception, human imagining, conceptual and beyond conceptual thought, in a way that doesn't happen in the West until about 100 years ago. Psychology is a pretty brand new science here in the West. But when we study ancient India and the Sanatana Dharma, we get this realization that the best way to understand the cosmos is not to look out there, but to go in here. And in here we find a mirror or an identity, more literally, with the all that is. But we also recognize there's something in the way. That human consciousness, as you and I experience it, is in this Upanishad, a 4-layered cake. And most of us are kind of stuck at that first layer. And you get glimmers, you get intimations of something richer and higher and truer. But caught here in the world of outer form, name and form, that hinders us from realization. So the whole program of Vedanta, as exemplified in our study of the Upanishads, is a series of practices and inquiries and techniques into how to transform and change the way we perceive and conceive and experience that oneness, and come up out of our lower ordered consciousness into deeper realization. And so I'll close our study today of the Mandukya Upanishad with the way all of the Upanishads close, at that beautiful chant. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And in English, English. Om